Sometimes love blinds us to the truth, even when it's staring us right in the face. That was my mistake, loving her too much to see what was really happening. The scene opens with Michael sitting on the edge of their neatly made bed, holding a framed photo of himself and Laura from their wedding day. He traces his finger over her smiling face in the picture, his own eyes clouded with sadness. The soft hum of an empty house fills the air, an eerie kind of silence that now feels familiar. Laura had been his everything for 8 years. Michael built a life around her, working overtime shift to save for their dream house, surprising her with thoughtful gifts and planning romantic getaways. She was his partner, his world. But lately, something had changed. Michael noticed at first in the little things. She started coming home late from work, brushing off his concern with a breezy. It's just a busy season. Her laughter, once so effortless, now felt forced. Even the way she kissed him, quick and distracted, was different. One night, Michael planned a quiet dinner. He lit candles, set the table with their favorite dishes, and waited for her to come home. Hours ticked by, the food grew cold, and so did his optimism. When Laura finally walked through the door, she looked surprised, almost irritated at the effort he'd made. "Oh, you shouldn't have. I ate with some coworkers." "Sorry, babe," she said, giving him a peck on the cheek and avoiding his eyes as she breezed past him into the bedroom. Michael stood frozen, the weight of her indifference pressing down on him. The next morning he tried to shake off the feeling. He convinced himself it was just work stress. But then came the locked phone. Laura, who had always left her phone lying around without a second thought, now clutched it like a lifeline. "Who are you texting?" Michael asked casually one evening as they sat on the couch. Laura flinched, her fingers quickly swiping the screen. "Just Sarah, from work." Her smile didn't reach her eyes, and she excused herself moments later, claiming she needed to finish some emails. Michael's suspicions grew. He started noticing patterns. Nights when she dressed up more than usual for work events, a faint but unfamiliar cologne lingering on her clothes, and a newfound interest in her appearance. One day, while cleaning out the car, Michael found a receipt tucked into the passenger seat, a dinner for two at an upscale restaurant he'd never been to with her. His stomach churned, but he said nothing. Maybe I'm imagining things, Michael thought, but the doubts wouldn't let him rest. Later that week, Laura's behavior became even more erratic. She began stepping outside to take phone calls, whispering into the receiver and glancing over her shoulder. One night, while Laura was in the shower, Michael heard her phone buzz on the nightstand. The screen lit up a message. "I can't stop thinking about you. Same time tomorrow?" Michael's blood ran cold. His hands shook as he stared at the text, his mind racing. He didn't recognize the number, but the implication was clear. He placed the phone back carefully, his heart pounding. Laura emerged moments later, towel wrapped around her, smiling as though nothing had happened. Michael forced himself to smile back, swallowing the storm brewing inside him. "Denial is a powerful thing," Michael narrates, his voice laced with bitterness. "Even then, I tried to convince myself I was wrong. But deep down, I already knew." The breaking point came a week later. Laura was heading out for another work meeting. She kissed him goodbye, but Michael didn't respond. As her car pulled out of the driveway, he sat in silence for a long time. Then, almost instinctively, he reached for his laptop, typing "private investigator" into the search bar. He hesitated for a moment before clicking on a name. The voice on the other end was calm, professional. "How can I help you?" Michael's voice cracked as he spoke. "I need to know if my wife is cheating on me." As the call ended, Michael sat back in his chair, staring blankly at the screen. For the first time, he allowed himself to imagine the possibility. Laura, the woman he adored, in the arms of another man. "I wasn't ready for the truth," he narrates, "but I knew I couldn't live with the lies anymore." The screen fades to black, leaving the audience gripped with anticipation. What will Michael discover? Who is Laura's mystery man? The story is just beginning. Every decision has a ripple effect. I thought I was chasing happiness, but what I found was regret. The screen opens with Laura sitting at her office desk, her eyes darting nervously to the clock. She types an email absent-mindedly, her thoughts clearly elsewhere. Her phone buzzes, and her lips curl into a small, secretive smile. The message is from James, her boss. Lunch today? I can't stop thinking about you. Laura quickly deletes the message, looking over her shoulder to ensure no one is watching. She grabs her coat and heads out, leaving behind a mundane office chaos for something that feels exciting and forbidden. Sitting across from James at an upscale restaurant, Laura feels a rush she hasn't felt in years. He's charming, confident, and everything she thinks Michael isn't. James leans in, his voice smooth. You deserve so much more, Laura. Someone who sees you for the amazing woman you are. She blushes, sipping her wine. Michael's a good man. It's just, I don't know. Things feel stagnant. James smiles knowingly. Life's too short to settle, Laura. These moments feel like an escape from her routine. Michael, with his dependable love and steady life, now feels like a distant part of her past. She convinces herself that this is what she's been missing. A spark, passion, excitement. But cracks begin to show in her illusion. One evening, Laura meets James at a hotel. He's late again. She sits in the dimly lit lobby, her phone clutched tightly in her hand, waiting for him. When he finally arrives, his excuses are casual, dismissive. Work ran over, he says with a grin, kissing her cheek. Let's not waste time on the small stuff. But something feels off. His charm, once intoxicating, now seems rehearsed. Laura pushes the thought aside, telling herself she's overthinking things. The affair intensifies, but so does Laura's guilt. Michael's quiet acts of love, leaving her coffee ready in the mornings, his warm smile when she comes home, begin to haunt her. One evening, as Michael sleeps soundly next to her, Laura scrolls through her photos. She pauses on a picture of them from their anniversary, his arm draped around her as they laugh together. Her chest tightens. Am I doing the right thing? She whispers to herself, her voice barely audible in the dark. But the thrill of her new life keeps her moving forward, even as doubts creep in. James begins to reveal his true nature. At first, it's small things, canceling plans at the last minute, forgetting details about her life, and texting her less frequently. Laura notices but brushes it off. He's busy, she tells herself. But then, during what was supposed to be a romantic dinner, James's mask slips entirely. You know, he says casually between bites of steak, you're not the only one who feels trapped in their marriage. I've been in this situation before. Laura freezes. What do you mean, before? James shrugs. These things happen. People get bored. Find excitement elsewhere. It's just life. The words hit her like a slap. She stares at him, searching for the man who once made her feel special. But all she sees now is indifference. The final blow comes when Laura plans a surprise weekend getaway for the two of them, only for James to cancel at the last moment. Sorry, something came up. Rain check, his text reads. That night, Laura sits alone in the hotel room she had booked for them. The excitement she once felt now feels hollow, replaced by an ache she can't ignore. She looks at her reflection in the window, the city lights glittering behind her. What have I done? She whispers, tears streaming down her face. Meanwhile, Michael is piecing together the truth. The private investigator provides undeniable evidence. Photos, timestamps, even audio recordings of Laura and James's conversations. Michael stares at the images, his heart breaking as he sees the woman he loves laughing with another man. But instead of confronting her, Michael decides to wait. The screen cuts back to Laura, now restless and unsure. She starts noticing things about James that she had ignored before, his self-centeredness, his lack of genuine care for her. Slowly, the fantasy unravels, leaving her to face the harsh reality. James was never her escape. He was just mirage. As Laura drives home one night, her phone buzzes with a text from James. Hey, can we talk tomorrow? I think we need to set some boundaries. The words sting, but they also confirm what she already knew. She's made a mistake that has cost her everything. Michael, sitting at the dining table with a folder of evidence in front of him, takes a deep breath. The date circle on the calendar is near Laura's birthday. She made her choice, he says softly, his voice calm yet cold. Now it's time for mine. Regret has a way of creeping in when it's too late, and for her, It came all at once. Laura's birthday arrives with the usual fanfare. A house deck of balloons, a lavish spread of food, and an air of celebration. Michael moves through the room with practiced ease, greeting guests with warm smiles, his demeanor calm and collected. But underneath the surface, he is a man on a mission. Laura is radiant that evening, dressed in a figure-hugging red dress that draws compliments from everyone. She floats through the party, basking in the attention, unaware of the storm brewing just beneath her perfect facade. As the night wears on, Michael steps forward, champagne glass in hand, calling for everyone's attention. The room quiets, and Laura looks at him expectantly, a small smile on her lips. "Thank you all for coming tonight to celebrate Laura's special day," Michael begins, his tone steady but carrying an edge that only a few might have noticed. 8 years ago, I met a woman who changed my life. She made me believe in love, trust, and forever. The guests clap, some murmuring words of admiration. Laura's smile widens, though there's a flicker of nervousness in her eyes. Michael continues, "Tonight, I want to share a story about choices, trust, and consequences." The atmosphere shifts as Michael reaches for a small remote and dims the lights. The room falls silent, the only sound the soft hum of a projector coming to life. On the screen appear a series of photos, starting innocuously enough with pictures of Michael and Laura's early days together. Vacations, anniversaries, moments of shared joy. But then the tone changes. The next slide is a grainy photo of Laura and James sitting close together at an upscale restaurant. The murmurs in the room grow louder as more images follow. Laura stepping into James's car, the two of them embracing in the dim glow of a hotel entrance, their faces close, lips almost touching. Laura's face turns pale. She stands frozen, unable to look away as the evidence plays out in front of her closest friends and family. "Laura," Michael says, his voice calm but icy, "do you remember this night? Or this one? How about the weekend? You said you were at a work retreat." She stammers, her words tumbling over themselves. "Michael, I can explain. It's not what it looks like." But Michael holds up a hand, silencing her. "It's exactly what it looks like. You made your choice, Laura. Now it's my turn." He walks over to the table and picks up a small, elegantly wrapped gift box. Handing it to her, he says, "Happy birthday. Open it." Laura's hands tremble as she unties the ribbon and lifts the lid. Inside are neatly folded divorce papers and a handwritten note. "You chose him. Now I'm choosing me." The room erupts into chaos. Gasps, whispers, and even a few quiet cheers fill the space as Laura stares at the papers, her eyes welling with tears. "Michael, please," she begs, her voice cracking. "I made a mistake. I was stupid, selfish. I love you." Michael's expression softened for just a moment, a flicker of the man who once adored her. But it's gone as quickly as it came. "You love me? You had a funny way of showing it," he replies, his tone cutting. "I spent years giving you everything, Laura. And when you had the chance to make a choice, you chose him." As if on cue, the doorbell rings. Michael smirks, turning to the crowd. "Oh, and it seems our final guest has arrived." James steps into the room, his confident demeanor faltering as he sees the crowd's shocked faces and the furious glare of Laura. Michael crosses his arms. "James, perfect timing. I figured you want to see how your little fantasy ends." James shifts uncomfortably, his usual charm replaced by awkwardness. "Michael, listen, save it." Michael snaps. "I already sent the photos to your wife. I'm sure she'll be thrilled to hear all about your work trips." James turns to leave, but Laura grabs his arm. "You said we'd be together," she hisses, her voice desperate. James sighs, shaking her off. "Laura, come on. You knew what this was. I have a family. I'm not leaving them for you." Her face crumbles as a final piece of her illusion shatters. The party guests begin to disperse, some offering Michael quiet words of support, others casting disapproving looks at Laura. She stands in the center of the room, alone, clutching divorce papers as tears stream down her face. Michael steps outside, the cool night air hitting his face as he closes the door behind him. For the first time in months, he feels free. "She made her choice," he says softly, his voice filled with quiet resolve. and I made mine. The screen fades to black, leaving the audience with a sense of justice, closure, and the lingering impact of choices made and the consequences that followed.